Hi, my name is Brett Bulow, and today I will be presenting on the Balanced Scorecard. So first off, what is the Balanced Scorecard? Balanced Scorecard was introduced in 1992 by Robert S. Kaplan and David Norton as a management tool helped to measure key performance areas. Though they distinguished four key areas: financial, customer satisfaction, internal processes, and innovation and improvement, which is also kind of training and development. When they introduced it, they likened it to the cockpit of an airplane. And I thought this was an interesting analogy because to me, when I look at the cockpit of an airplane, it's confusing. I would never be able to understand it, but from a pilot standpoint, they have all the key metrics and everything that they need to be able to gauge the overall performance of the airplane right in front of them. And so if you look at from the manager's standpoint, the Balanced Scorecard does the same thing, gives us all those key things right there in front of us. So it basically becomes like a company cockpit. And we're not too narrowly focused as focusing on maybe one gauge. And if you look at that from the pilot standpoint, if they only had, say, an altimeter in there and they were only focusing on how high or low the plane was flying, they'd probably run out of fuel or they'd get way off course. So we're able to use a lot of resources, a lot of those performance metrics, but not have it so narrowly focused or too wide focused. It gives us a good perspective on that. So next we're going to talk about why Balanced Scorecard. So first off, why did they develop it? I thought this was an interesting quote by them that says, "We introduced the Balanced Scorecard because we believed that exclusive reliance on financial measures couldn't drive sustainable value creation. Financial measures are lag indicators that report on the outcomes from past actions. Exclusive reliance on financial indicators encourage behavior that sacrifice long-term value creation for short-term performance." So they felt like too much focus on just financial and the past performance didn't actually lead to the long-term goals, and this is what they designed the Balanced Scorecard to be more current and future and that long-term type goals. So why use it? Well, the four categories that we focus on help us answer these four questions. How do customers see us? What must we excel at? Can we continue to improve and create value? And how do we look to shareholders? And obviously, if we're able to answer those questions effectively, we're going to be able to position ourselves within our industry and be very successful as a company. One thing that I thought was interesting is they said what you measure is what you get. And so obviously the more we're able to measure and detect, the better we're going to see the outcomes of those measurements. Another thing that the Balanced Scorecard does for us is it helps us focus on our strategy. And not only does it help us focus, or it directs our strategy and helps refine it and complement it so that we can implement that throughout the entire company. So the last thing we're going to talk about is how. Now obviously there could be an in-depth thing on how to use this, but some key things that we have to do. First off, it has to be a top-down approach. When they asked Kaplan and Norton what they felt like the most successful thing was, they said the most important condition for success is executive leadership. We are unaware of any truly successful Balanced Scorecard project that wasn't led and sponsored by the CEO of the organizational unit. So obviously it needs to start with the top, and then it needs to be implemented and have everybody understand what the importance behind that is. And then the next thing I want to talk about is just the communication on the same side of that, making sure we're communicating these key performance areas throughout the organization. One example that they used was the term superior service. They all agreed that that was a good term on how to use that, but they found out that they were all defining that a little bit differently. And so these key performances, when you use the Balanced Scorecard, are going to help narrow that and get a definition so that everybody understands exactly what superior service means and how we're going to measure that. So in conclusion, obviously the Balanced Scorecard has been successful. It's been implemented for over 20 years. It's been refined and used in various different stages. So the Balanced Scorecard is something that is very successful. And if managers learn how to use it, they're going to have all those key indicators right there in front of them and be able to implement that and use it throughout their company. Thank you.